The United States has become one of the most traveled destinations in the world, drawing tourists from every corner. Each year, over 79 million international tourists and nearly 2.3 billion domestic travelers visit cities, coastlines, and historical sites across the U.S. While this has boosted the economy, generating over $1 trillion in revenue, the rising tide of tourists has left a significant mark, especially on cities that were unprepared for the overwhelming surge. Historic neighborhoods, beach towns, and natural wonders now face crowded streets, environmental degradation, and rising costs that disrupt the lives of locals. Below, we explore 10 iconic U.S. cities transformed, some say damaged, by overtourism. As we explore these cities, let's remember the role each visitor plays in either helping or harming these destinations. Traveling responsibly is more critical than ever. Be part of the solution. Like, subscribe, and comment below on sustainable tourism tips and your thoughts on overtourism. Number 10. Aspen, Colorado. Aspen is beloved for its ski resorts, winter beauty, and outdoor recreation, drawing nearly 2 million visitors annually. However, overtourism has severely impacted this small mountain town, home to just around 7,000 permanent residents. Environmental strain. The high foot traffic on trails and ski areas has led to soil erosion and pollution. Trail maintenance costs have increased by 45% since 2018, costing the city $3 million annually to restore damaged areas. Cost of living. Property prices have risen dramatically, with average home prices now over $1.5 million. This sharp increase has led to an affordability crisis for locals, many of whom have been forced to leave or take on multiple jobs to afford housing. Restrictions and limits. In 2024, Aspen introduced visitor limits for high traffic areas and increased fees for ski passes to deter excessive visitation. The hope is to preserve the town's natural beauty and protect it from further overuse, but the changes have met with mixed reactions from locals and tourists alike. Number 9. Maui, Hawaii. Maui's turquoise waters, unique black sand beaches, and volcanic landscapes attracted over 3.2 million tourists in 2024. This small island's infrastructure and ecosystems, however, were unprepared for the growing visitor numbers. Environmental degradation. Coral reefs, vital to Maui's marine life and economy, face critical damage. Over 50% of the reefs are now endangered due to snorkeling, diving, and boat tours. Water pollution levels have risen 40% since 2018, affecting not only coral health but also fish populations. Housing market pressures. Short-term vacation rentals make up 30% of available housing, driving home prices up by 35% since 2021. The average home on Maui now costs over $1 million, forcing local families to relocate. Legislative actions. In 2024, Maui's government implemented caps on visitor numbers to natural reserves, aiming to give the environment a chance to heal. However, locals say the island's charm and ecological health have already been compromised. Number 8. Key West, Florida. With its historic homes, coral reefs, and vibrant nightlife, Key West attracts around 4 million tourists annually. For this small island city, the economic boost from tourism is tempered by the strain on resources. Housing and cost of living. Housing prices on the island have risen 45% since 2020, with the average home now priced at $900,000. Locals find it difficult to compete with investors snapping up properties for short-term rentals, and the shortage of affordable housing is now at a crisis level. Environmental impact. The coral reefs surrounding Key West are heavily impacted by boating and diving activities. Studies from 2023 show a 30% decline in coral cover, a trend that threatens local fisheries and the island's natural allure. Government measures. In 2024, Key West restricted cruise ship access, aiming to reduce environmental stress and crowd congestion. However, for residents who feel the island has already lost its quaint charm, the policy changes are too little too late. Number 7. Sedona, Arizona. Sedona, with its stunning red rock formations and serene desert landscapes, has seen a dramatic rise in tourism, with nearly 5 million visitors annually in 2024, far more than the city's infrastructure can manage. Trail erosion. Increased foot traffic has eroded Sedona's famous hiking trails by 45% over the past 5 years. The cost of trail maintenance has spiked, requiring $3 million annually to repair damage and control erosion. Traffic and parking issues. Due to the lack of parking infrastructure, city congestion has become a daily issue, especially on weekends. In 2023, the city spent $2 million to create shuttle services and new parking areas to alleviate some of these problems. Visitor fees and restrictions. Sedona introduced a $5 entrance fee for popular trails, aimed at controlling visitor numbers and funding maintenance. However, for many residents, the shift toward commercialization has turned Sedona into a theme park rather than a peaceful escape. Number 6. Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, known for its cobblestone streets, antebellum architecture, and waterfront, saw over 7 million tourists in 2024, a huge increase for a city of around 150,000 residents. While the tourism revenue is significant, bringing in an estimated $7 billion, the effects on Charleston's infrastructure and community are substantial. Traffic and pollution. The city's narrow, historic streets experience year-round traffic jams, with vehicle congestion increasing by 60% since 2020. Charleston spent $5 million in 2023 alone on pollution control and street repairs. Housing market impact. Short-term rentals have surged, driving home prices up 25% since 2019. The average home price in historic neighborhoods now exceeds $500,000, pricing out many locals. City interventions. In 2024, Charleston implemented new regulations on short-term rentals, requiring permits and capping the number of rental units. Locals hope these measures will help restore Charleston's charm, though residents note that much of the old character has already been lost. Number 5. Boston, Massachusetts. Boston, with its rich history, academic reputation, and charming streets, saw an estimated 22 million visitors in 2024. Tourism brings in around $8 billion annually, but this high volume of visitors is creating significant challenges for the city, which has a population of approximately 700,000. Traffic congestion. Boston's historic streets and narrow roadways are now constantly crowded with tourists. Traffic delays have increased by 40% since 2019, especially in popular areas like the Freedom Trail, which alone attracts around 4 million visitors annually. Rising costs. The cost of living in Boston has surged, partly due to short-term rentals and demand for centrally located accommodations. The average rent in popular areas such as Back Bay and Beacon Hill now exceeds $3,000 per month, a 15% increase over the past 3 years. This rise is driving out locals who struggle to keep up with the city's inflated prices. Where on historic sites? Historic sites like Paul Revere's house, Faneuil Hall, and the Old North Church face considerable wear and tear. Boston spent $2 million in 2023 on conservation efforts to maintain these landmarks, but increased foot traffic continues to impact their preservation. City measures. To combat overtourism, Boston introduced stricter guidelines for short-term rentals in 2024, capping the number of days that properties can be rented out in tourist-heavy neighborhoods. Additionally, increased entrance fees and mandatory reservations at some historic sites aim to control visitor numbers. Number 4. Savannah, Georgia. Savannah's charm, oak-lined streets, and historic districts brought in 14 million visitors in 2024, more than quadruple the city's population. Although tourism adds around $3 billion annually to the local economy, the city's infrastructure is feeling the strain. Traffic and congestion. The streets are now constantly crowded, and residents report that 70% of downtown parking is occupied by tourists. This has driven up parking fees, generating an additional $1 million in revenue for the city, but inconveniencing locals. Housing and rentals. Like other popular destinations, Savannah has seen a 30% increase in property prices over the last 5 years. Average monthly rents in prime areas exceed $2,000, making it difficult for residents to afford housing. Local regulations. In 2023, the city passed an ordinance to limit short-term rentals in residential areas and introduced a tourist tax to support infrastructure improvements. However, locals argue that more robust policies are needed to balance tourism with community needs. Number 3. San Francisco, California. San Francisco, known for the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz Island, and iconic hills, attracted a staggering 26 million visitors in 2023. This picturesque city, however, faces significant strain on its infrastructure and community. Traffic gridlock. The city's small, winding streets are now clogged nearly year-round, with traffic up by 55% since 2020. Residents report taking twice as long to commute, and public transport has become overloaded, causing up to $15 million in additional maintenance costs annually. Housing and rent. With a tech-driven economy already inflating costs, tourism has exacerbated the housing crisis. Rental prices rose 20% between 2021 and 2024, with average monthly rents hitting $3,500. Displaced residents are leaving the city, changing the very demographics and culture of San Francisco. Local policies. In 2023, the city introduced a tourist impact fee, charging $10 for certain high-traffic areas. Funds are directed toward infrastructure and public transport improvements. Yet locals argue that financial measures won't restore the charm and authenticity San Francisco was once known for. Number 2. New Orleans, Louisiana. Famed for its vibrant music scene, Creole cuisine, and French Quarter architecture, New Orleans has always drawn an international crowd. In 2024, however, New Orleans hit a new high with 20 million annual visitors, exceeding its population by nearly 90% during peak times like Mardi Gras and Jazz Fest. Local impacts are troubling. Historic preservation challenges. The wear and tear on historic sites have increased city maintenance costs by 40% over the past 5 years. The Preservation Resource Center estimated that $7 million is now required annually to repair damage inflicted by the sheer volume of tourists. Cost of living and housing. Property prices have surged by 28% in just 3 years, with short-term rentals overtaking residential properties in key neighborhoods. Average rental prices in central areas are now $2,500 per month, leaving many natives financially squeezed. Government interventions. New Orleans passed a law in 2023 limiting the number of short-term rentals and capping noise levels in residential zones. However, many locals worry that the soul of the city, the unique blend of jazz, food, and tradition, is being replaced by a commercialized experience meant to cater solely to tourists. Number 1. Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas, the entertainment capital known for its casinos, shows, and nightlife, attracts around 40 million visitors a year. While the city thrives on tourism with an estimated $60 billion in annual revenue, Las Vegas is also grappling with the downsides of over-tourism. Water shortage. The water demands for pools, fountains, and thousands of visitors have put an immense strain on local water resources. In 2023, Las Vegas faced a 10% reduction in its water supply, prompting the city to spend $20 million on water conservation efforts. Traffic and air quality. The heavy tourist traffic has led to a 50% increase in vehicle emissions since 2018, resulting in poor air quality. In response, the city invested $15 million in public transit enhancements to reduce car dependency. Measures and limits. Las Vegas recently introduced a green tourism initiative in 2024, which incentivizes hotels to adopt eco-friendly practices and reduces water usage through stricter regulations. Despite these efforts, the effects of over-tourism on the environment and quality of life remain significant. Which city surprised you the most? Have you visited any of these places recently? Share your experiences in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and help spread awareness about sustainable tourism